When most people think of justice, they think of judges, lawyers, and courtrooms. But justice has never existed only within courtroom walls. For generations, communities across Kenya have resolved disputes through dialogue, mediation, reconciliation, and collective responsibility. Today, these approaches continue to evolve through alternative justice systems, commonly known as AJS. Alternative justice systems offer communities an opportunity to resolve disputes in ways that preserve relationships, encourage accountability, and promote peaceful coexistence. Because sometimes justice is not only about determining who was right or wrong. Sometimes justice is about restoring relationships and rebuilding communities. For years, Legal Resources Foundation has worked to improve access to justice for vulnerable and marginalized communities across Kenya. Through legal empowerment, community engagement, and partnerships with justice sector actors, LRF continues to champion approaches that make justice more accessible, inclusive, and responsive to the realities faced by communities. Alternative justice systems have become an important part of this work.
Alternative justice systems or mechanisms, these are practices and norms that have been with us as Africans and as Kenyans as ways and means of resolving conflicts. And why is that so? It's because, according to research and data, it's that we have over 64% of people who have justice needs. They always pursue justice through other means as opposed to the formal justice system. And those 64% of people with justice issues can only, at this particular time, be served by the AJS mechanisms.
AJS does not replace the formal justice system. Instead, it complements it by creating pathways between communities and formal institutions. AJS helps ensure that disputes are resolved in ways that are appropriate, accessible, and sustainable. And nowhere is this more visible than in LRF's work within correctional institutions. For many years, prisons have primarily been viewed as places of punishment. But what happens when justice goes beyond punishment? What happens when healing, accountability, and restoration become part of the process? Through the AJS prison model process, LRF has supported efforts that bring together inmates, victims, families, prison officers, communities, and justice sector actors in pursuit of meaningful resolutions. The model recognizes that in certain cases, dialogue and reconciliation can become powerful tools for healing and reintegration. It creates opportunities for offenders to take responsibility for their actions. It gives victims and families a voice in their process. And where appropriate, it creates pathways for restoration and reintegration back into communities.
That by this manner of engagement, wounds are healed, relationships are restored, understanding is built, conflict is minimized, and social harmony is generated.
AJS in prison model demonstrates that justice can be achieved while protecting mental health and social healing by emphasizing dialogue, reconciliation, accountability, and restoration rather than punishment.
The impact goes beyond individual cases. Communities are strengthened, relationships are restored, and institutions are able to work together more effectively.
That data is still important for us because it still helps us as civil society organizations know where is the gap, where are courts missing, where are judicial personnel not posted to address justice problems there. So that still is important to us.
The prison AJS model also contributes to broader conversation around rehabilitation, reintegration, and prison decongestion. Because justice should not only punish, justice should also restore.
As Legal Resource Foundation Trust, during this 4th AJS conference, we are sharing our work on the AJS prison model that is happening in our prisons. We are currently in four prisons, Isiolo prisons, Kitui prisons, Eldamarevin prisons, and Kabarnet prisons. And here we are able to use the paralegal and the AJS approach to help clients, access justice at a speedy level, but also just ensuring that we restore relationships through the AJS process. So through this model, we have innovated a tool that helps inmates in prisons to request the court to have their matters reverted back to the AJS platforms. So these paralegals in prisons sensitize inmates in their prisons and are able to help them, file these applications. So once the application is filed in court, they're able to get the court and the ODPP, review the merits of their files. And once they confirm that it's a case that can be reverted to the elders, the matter is reverted to the elders, and elders are able to convene. So within the prison facilities, we have liaison officers that we work with, which are prison officers, and these officers are able to call, the complainants, and also allow the elders to come into prisons, have a conversation, and of course convene these conflicting parties to resolve the matters. They sit there, have a conversation, and they draw an agreement. Out of the agreement, they're able to document that report and submit it to court. So once the court receives the report or the agreement from the elders sitting, they're able to review it, and of course they will summon the parties to court. These parties are made to confirm the letter and spirit of the agreement, and if they confirm it was a voluntary process and they're happy with the outcome of the AJS process, the court adopts that agreement as a document of the court, and of course the matter is resolved, and these parties go home happy and reconciled and repaired, because we want to repair the complainant for the offense that has happened against them, and the accused person feel justice has been done because it was faster, they did not spend much time in prison, and they were able to reconcile with the person they offended. So that is what we were sharing here, and we are happy that we are seeing more cases being channeled to the AJS platforms. And as Legal Resource Foundation Trust, with the partnership that we have with the many donors that are supporting us, the Mott Foundation, Diakonia, Embassy of Sweden, we are happy that they are supporting this work, and they are going to continue supporting us so that we can make this AJS work continue out there, to continue helping this common mwananchi to access justice in a speedy manner, and of course facilitate justice in the best way possible.
Beyond prisons, LRF continues to support communities in addressing disputes through alternative justice systems. This includes work around succession and inheritance matters, where women often face barriers in accessing their rights and entitlements.
What she's saying is that instead of subdividing the piece of land to represent all the siblings, he took the leadership and returned the title back to his name, hosting every other person. So like all of them are under his mercy.
Then I knew how to handle the case. But when we came to be trained here, when I go back to our area, nilifuata the right channels, know where and how I can get the land back to the name and resolve the process. So I benefited from the training.
Through legal awareness, community engagement, and partnerships with local justice actors, LRF continues to champion approaches that protect rights while preserving social harmony.
My name is Laten Naparachao, and I come from Isiolo. I am a mother of 7 children. When I got married, I moved to Isiolo to live with my husband's family. Unfortunately, after my husband passed away, his family took everything from me. They took my property, my belongings, and even my land. I remained in the community with nothing and lived in poverty. Later, I joined a group of women who had also lost their husbands. It was through this group that I met Grace. She listened to my story and told me where she was going. Grace later spoke to the elders on my behalf, and the elders engaged my late husband's family. Eventually, they agreed to return everything that belonged to me. I got back my land, my property, and I was able to rebuild my life within the community. Grace continued to involve me in different meetings and seminars. I may not know the names of all these trainings, but I attended, listened, and learned. She kept encouraging me and opening doors for me to participate in these spaces. I am truly grateful to all the people who stood with me and supported me.
Across Kenya, communities continue to adopt alternative justice systems to fit their unique realities. Refugee communities have embraced community-led approaches that encourage peaceful coexistence and make referrals easier and more effective. Faith-based institutions continue to use mediation and dialogue to address disputes within their communities. Discussions around disability inclusion continue to highlight the need for stronger mechanisms to ensure that persons with disabilities can fully participate in and benefit from alternative justice systems. The strength of AJS lies in its flexibility. There is no one model for every community. There is only one goal: accessible justice for all. This year, these conversations took center stage during the 4th National Conference on Alternative Justice Systems held at the University of Embu. The conference brought together judicial leaders, elders, community practitioners, development partners, and justice sector actors from across Kenya and the continent. Over 40 judges participated in discussion exploring the future of alternative justice systems in Kenya. The conference was graced by Chief Justice Martha Koome alongside judicial leaders from across Africa. Among the milestones marked during the conference was the launch of the Embu Alternative Justice Systems Center, signaling growing institutional support for community-based justice approaches. For LRF, the conference provided an opportunity not only to participate in these conversations, but also to showcase the organization's work in advancing alternative justice systems. As a contributing partner and exhibitor, LRF shared experiences from its prison programs, succession work, and community-based justice initiatives. Visitors to the exhibitions interacted with beneficiaries, practitioners, and members of the LRF team, gaining first-hand insight into the impact of alternative justice systems on community across Kenya. One of the highlights of the week was the visit by Chief Justice Martha Koome to the LRF exhibition stand.
Karibu sana.
Yes.
Today I know you've been to our stand. So
yes.
Today we are going to introduce you to the beneficiaries of the work that you've done. So these are the ladies that have benefited from the prison model. So one of them was an accused person in prison, but through the process they were able to get out of the prison. You can tell
now
they are now free. Yes, so
enjoying freedom. Looking very smart.
Niliona nilizaliwa na wazee wa AJS free side.
So they had an assault case. So they were conflicting on a space where they're selling their merchandise, groceries, and everything. So they conflicted. Someone extended their boundaries to the next person's space, and they fought in the process. So when she was arrested, they got to know about the elders in prisons, and that's how the case was reverted back to the elders for resolution. So because there was bloodshed, and of course some harm happened, they were able to agree. Walichinja mbuzi tatu. Walipeana, actually kupeana mwezi tatu. So saizi wanafurahi and they're happy and they're enjoying their work together. So that's another.
Oh, the two of them.
The two of them.
Ah, okay.
So that's when
they became friends.
Clearly,
no choice.
We were looking at it and I was like, this is not a fake, reconciliation. This is true reconciliation, because if it's from the face of it, they're willing to work together, they're willing to eat together. That is something they're doing, and we are saying AJS is really working.
It works.
And it's restoring relationships. This one is a beneficiary. She's a widow, and of course the elders were able to assist her get her rights as a widow in the community. So she's also a beneficiary of the AJS process in Isiolo.
Asante sana.
Yes.
Thank you for the good job.
Thank you.
These moments reflected something larger than a conference exhibition. They reflected a justice sector that is evolving. A justice sector that recognizes the importance of listening to communities. A justice sector that understands that justice must be accessible, inclusive, and responsive. Out the week, one message continued to emerge. The future of justice is not courts versus communities. It is courts and communities working together. It is judges, elders, prisoners, paralegals, civil society organizations, and citizens all contributing towards a stronger justice system. At Legal Resources Foundation, this vision continues to guide our work, because justice should not depend on where you live. Justice should not depend on your income. Justice should not depend on your circumstances. Justice should be accessible to everyone. Alternative justice systems are not simply an alternative. They are an essential part of building stronger communities and a more accessible justice system. And as conversations continue across Kenya and beyond, Legal Resources Foundation remains committed to advancing approaches that restore relationships, strengthen communities, and expand access to justice. Because justice works best when it works for everyone.